Hey, are Xbox fans blind to Phil Spencer? That's the question of the day. What's going on, everybody? This is Young Soul, back with another video. And the question, are Xbox fans blind to Phil Spencer? Well, recently Phil Spencer talked about how he is going to expand on first-party studios, either make new studios or acquire studios, or expand on with more development studios within, development teams within studios, or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but a lot of Xbox guys are pointing to this as, the big thing as far as games wise. As far as the hardware wise, they got the Xbox One X. They talk about the Xbox One X on the hardware side. He's re-upped on the what is that, the Xbox Live marketplace type stuff. So now it's the games and the studios and this. And Xbox guys are saying that Phil Spencer, who recently did say that they're going to be investing in these first party studios. The problem is, well, let's start here. The fact that I'm going to use a person as an example. It's not me taking a shot at this particular person, because I think they're a reasonable person, and that's the reason why I'm picking them. I didn't want to go and pick some, Xbox, what I believe to be Xbox zealot, somebody who, always hypes Xbox, never says a bad word about it, only bashes PlayStation, never says a good word about them, because obviously there's a bit of trolling going on with that. So I'm gonna announce this person again, not trashing him, but his name is Randall Thorpe. Been watching a lot of his videos. I think he's pretty fair on PlayStation. I still think he's a bit, googly-eyed or seeing through rose-colored glasses when it comes to Xbox, though. And the reason why I'm pointing him out again is not because I'm trashing him. It's because I think he's reasonable, and I'm trying to use a reasonable, person as an example as to why I think even reasonable Xbox guys are kind of blind to Phil Spencer. Okay, so I think Rand's most recent video, and I'll put a link to his video so you can watch it. He talks about the best thing about Xbox, and he says it's something that's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to try to get him this video so he can see it. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I think he says that the best thing about Xbox was something intangible, and he goes on to say about how the goodwill is coming back and the belief in Xbox is coming back, in part because of the Xbox One X. Now, as a PlayStation guy, I look at the Xbox One X and say, okay, whatever, in my opinion. But for Xbox guys, maybe it's a bigger deal. I get it, okay? So I'm not here to argue the Xbox One X at all. But something else he said in the video, he talked about how, Phil Spencer, just like a lot of people have said, he's reeing up on, the first party studios and so forth, and, he wants to see what's happening, but he's kind of, in my opinion, with all due respect, Rand, you're kind of using that as a crutch, him saying that. And the reason why I say that is because if you look through the history of Xbox, let's just be honest. They have talked a lot about first party, a lot, and, as far as first party expansion, first party studios, etc. Okay, first of all, just going back again, this is back before Phil Spencer had the reins at Xbox, so I know that's going to be a bit of a reason why, so I get that. But at the announcement, or at the first E3 in 2013, or the announcement earlier than that, Microsoft talked about how they are going to have $1 billion invested specifically for games. I don't know. Did they use that billion, or did they not use that billion? I can't, because I'll be honest, if they used $1 billion so far, I'm sorry, that's kind of lackluster too. I would argue pathetic, but that's just my opinion on that. Or if they didn't use the $1 billion, where's the rest of the money at? That's just my question. But again, that doesn't go to Phil Spencer, because remember, Donnie Matrick was above him, so who knows where that money went. But anyway, let's move forward, and here's where I want to get to. I want to get to this particular Twitter exchange. And if you take a look in the I'll put in the description a link to the Twitter thread. a guy called Steve Rules basically is asking him about first-party expansion. Now remember, this is in April of 2014, 3.5 years ago, actually 3 years and 7 months. So 3.5 years ago. And this is just after he gets announced as the head of Xbox Studio. So Steve Rules is basically asking about the expansion of new studios, or the acquisition or making new studios. Essentially what Phil Spencer has recently said in 2017. He's asking him about this in April of 2014. And you see the Twitter exchange pretty much talking about, where you're going to make more studios like, Black Tusk, and Phil Spencer at the end, the one I'm highlighting, the highlighted one, the one that I'm going to link in the description, he says he also mentions Lift London and then unannounced things, unannounced studios. So this is in April of 2014. He just took the reins at Xbox and he's talking about unannounced studios. Well, I'm sorry. And again, if Rand hears this, great. If he doesn't, that's too bad. I'm going to try to make sure I let him know because I'm bringing his name up. And again, this isn't to like go after Rand out there because I think he's decent. And again, that's the reason why I'm pointing him out specifically, is because I think he's decent, but still blind. So I know the people who aren't even decent, who are even further in the Xbox camp and, have to be blind, because I think Rand, to a certain extent, on this particular issue, is blind because he's said this back in 2014. And where are those new studios? We have nothing. I mean, I guess you could say Mojang because and Minecraft, because they didn't have that at the time. But I mean, that they basically acquired Mojang just to get Minecraft. I mean, does anybody think Mojang is coming out with something else? I don't believe of anything of note. No, they pretty much bought it as a package deal. Believe me, if they could have bought Minecraft without Mojang, they probably would have just bought Minecraft without Mojang, right? So for the sake of talking studios, to me, Mojang is irrelevant. As far as that goes, as far as studios to make more games, Mojang probably ain't making anything beyond Minecraft. That's my point. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Not that Minecraft isn't a huge phenomenon, because look, they're selling plushies. I got like my little niece some plushies, the little pig plushie or whatever. So it's huge. I get it. But as far as the acquisition or making of studios in order to make new games, Mojang really doesn't fit that bill. So my point basically is, why is it that you guys keep believing Phil Spencer when he talks about the expansion or acquisition or making of new studios, when he seems to always be talking about this? And by always, I mean, here's the 2014 example, but in 2015, and I'm sorry, I'm a little lazy, I don't have screenshots of this, but go back and look at E3 2015 and Gamescom 2015, where he talks about he's focusing in on first party. Okay, well, that was short-lived, because then in other words, if Phil Spencer has to keep talking about investing in first party, that means he wasn't doing it before. I don't understand why people believe he's going to do it now. So I put out a tweet earlier this morning, and I'm basically I basically say that I'm not going to believe jack about this until I see something camp. That's the camp I'm in. I don't know how you could believe this guy. No, and let me back up. When I say how you can believe this guy, I think he does better than Don Mattrick. I think Mattrick was great with marketing and getting, I think Don Mattrick was a great front-running leader, meaning you were way out, at least in the Western, in the Western hemisphere, the Western world. Xbox was out ahead of PlayStation last generation, and Donnie Mattrick was good at acquiring the third-party partnerships because they were out ahead and doing the marketing, and almost like I believe it was Zaire Next Gen 720 who talks about every TV show you saw, the guy had an Xbox One or Xbox 360 controller, and they were always playing on 360s. That was Donnie Mattrick's thing, okay? But I agree that coming from a position of being behind, Donnie Mattrick, I don't think would have been a good leader. So I think Phil Spencer is a better leader. But that doesn't mean, I'm over here stuttering. That doesn't mean that you just take what he says, especially if he has said it multiple times before, that doesn't mean you should just take what he says and just, okay, well, he said it, therefore it's absolutely going to happen. Because as I show you here, the proof's in the pudding. He's been saying this a couple of times before, as far back, like I say, 3.5 years ago. So hopefully Rand sees this. If he does, great. If he doesn't, that's fine. But everybody else who sees this, please, can somebody explain to me why Xbox guys keep believing the current iteration of Phil Spencer when he talks about acquisition, expansion, or making new studios, when he's been saying this several times this generation? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll holla back.